What if I told you that the slowest person in the race, the one everyone laughed at, the one everyone doubted, the one everyone left behind, was actually the only one guaranteed to win? What if speed was never the requirement, and the only real rule of success was this: you must never, under any condition, under any pressure, under any pain, allow yourself to completely stop. Right now, somewhere in the world, a person with half your talent, half your resources, and half your intelligence is beating you. Not because they are smarter, not because they are faster, but simply because they refuse to stop moving. They woke up broken and still moved. They woke up defeated and still moved. They woke up with zero confidence and still moved. And here is the most shocking truth you will hear today. Your biggest competition is not the person next to you. Your biggest competition is the version of you that decided to sit down and wait for the perfect moment. That moment is never coming. But this moment, right here, right now, this moment is yours. So the only question left is this: will you move? What if the secret to every extraordinary life ever lived was not genius, not talent, not perfect timing, not powerful connections, but simply this: the radical, unbreakable, almost stubborn refusal to ever completely stop moving forward, no matter how slow, no matter how painful, no matter how invisible the progress appeared to the world watching from the outside? Sit with that thought for a moment, because it will completely destroy every excuse you have been carrying with you like a comfortable blanket wrapped around your potential, suffocating the greatness that was placed inside you before you even took your first breath on this earth. We live in a world absolutely obsessed with speed. Social media shows you highlight reels of people who appear to have arrived at success overnight. You scroll through your phone and you see someone your age, someone with your background, someone who started where you started, and they are already living the life you dreamed about. And in that single moment of comparison, something dangerous happens inside you. You do not get inspired, you get discouraged. You tell yourself that if you cannot move as fast as them, if you cannot produce results as quickly as them, if you cannot show the world progress as visibly as them, then perhaps you were never meant to make it at all. And that single thought, that poisonous, devastating, completely false thought, is where most dreams go to die. Not in failure, not in defeat, but in the decision to stop moving entirely because the movement felt too slow to matter. Here is what the world's most successful men and women discovered through years of struggle, through mountains of rejection, through seasons of absolute darkness where they could not see the path ahead. They discovered that slow progress is not the opposite of success. Slow progress is success. Every single step you take forward, no matter how small, no matter how shaky, no matter how uncertain, every single step is a declaration to the universe that you have not quit, that you are still in the game, that your dream is still alive inside you, and that you are still worthy of everything you have ever asked for. Think about the seed planted deep beneath the cold, hard ground. From the outside, it looks like absolutely nothing is happening. There is no visible movement. There is no evidence of life. There is no sign of progress. A person walking past that ground would see nothing worth celebrating, nothing worth believing in, nothing worth waiting for. But underground, deep in the darkness where no human eye can see, that seed is doing the most important work of its entire existence. It is pushing roots downward. It is building a foundation. It is preparing itself for the moment when it will break through the surface and show the world something magnificent. And if you disturb that seed too early, if you dig it up because you grew impatient with the process, if you abandon it because the ground above it looks empty, you will destroy the very thing that was on the verge of becoming extraordinary. You are that seed. And your slow season, the season you are currently calling your worst season, your most embarrassing season, your most frustrating season, that season is not evidence of your failure. That season is evidence of your preparation. Every single morning that you wake up and feel the weight of your unfinished dream pressing on your chest, you face a choice. And this choice, this quiet, private, deeply personal choice, defines everything. You can look at how far you still have to go and feel so overwhelmed that you convince yourself that staying still is safer than risking more disappointment. Or you can look at where you started, feel the fire that originally ignited this journey still burning somewhere inside you, and decide, with every ounce of strength you have remaining, to take one more step. Just one, not 10, not 100, just one step forward in the direction of everything you believe your life was meant to become. Because here is the truth that changed the trajectory of every great life that has ever been studied, documented, and celebrated in human history. It was never the people with the most talent who built the most extraordinary legacies. It was never the people with the most money, the most connections, the most resources, or the most perfect circumstances who achieved what the world said was impossible. It was always, the people who simply refused to stop, the people who crawled when they could not walk, the people who whispered when they had lost their voice, the people who took one tiny, almost invisible step forward on the days when everything inside them was screaming to sit down and surrender. You want to talk about real courage? Real courage is not the person who charges forward with complete confidence, with zero doubt, with perfect clarity about where they are going. Real courage is the person who is absolutely terrified, who is drowning in self-doubt, who has been rejected so many times that rejection has started to feel like their permanent address, and they still get up, they still try, they still move, even if the movement is barely visible, even if the progress feels embarrassing, even if nobody around them understands why they keep going. That person, that relentlessly persistent, beautifully stubborn, quietly determined person, that person changes the world. You must understand something fundamental about the nature of momentum that most people spend their entire lives without ever grasping. Momentum does not care about your speed. Momentum only cares about your direction and your consistency. A river that flows slowly still carves canyons. Water that drips consistently still breaks through stone. And a human being who moves forward persistently, even at the slowest possible pace, still reaches destinations that the world once called impossible. The danger is never in moving slowly. The danger lives exclusively in the moment you decide to stop completely. Because the moment you stop, something begins to happen inside you that is far more devastating than any external failure you could ever experience. When you stop moving, your mind begins to construct stories about why stopping was the right decision. It begins to build a case against your own dream. It begins to gather evidence for your limitations rather than evidence for your possibilities. And the longer you stay still, the more convincing that case becomes. And the harder it is to find the courage to start moving again. This is why the most important moment in your entire journey is not the moment you achieve your goal. It is the moment you feel like quitting and you choose to take one more step instead. Think about every person you have ever admired. Think about every achievement that has ever inspired you. Think about every story of human triumph that has ever made you believe in the impossible. I promise you, I absolutely guarantee you, that behind every single one of those stories, there was a moment. A dark, quiet, deeply private moment where that person sat alone, completely exhausted, completely uncertain, completely unsure if continuing was even worth the pain. And in that moment, they made the most powerful decision a human being can ever make. They decided that their dream was worth one more day, one more attempt, one more step forward into the darkness without any guarantee of what waited on the other side. That decision, repeated daily, sometimes hourly, sometimes minute by minute, is the actual architecture of every great life ever built. Your circumstances right now do not define your destination. Your current speed does not determine your eventual arrival. Your present struggles are not permanent evidence of your future limitations. They are temporary conditions on a permanent journey, and the only way those temporary conditions ever become permanent is if you allow them to stop you completely. There will be people in your life, people who love you, people who mean well, who will look at your slow progress and encourage you to stop trying. Not out of cruelty, but out of a desperate desire to protect you from more disappointment. They will offer you comfort instead of challenge. They will offer you acceptance instead of ambition. They will tell you that where you are is good enough, that what you have is enough, that who you are right now is already the final version of yourself, and you must love those people and then walk past them. because good enough was never the standard your soul was built for. You were built for more. You were designed for growth. You were created with a specific purpose that cannot be fulfilled from a standing position, that cannot be discovered from a place of comfortable stillness, that cannot be expressed through a life where you traded your greatest potential for the temporary relief of not having to try anymore. Move as slowly as you need to move. Take breaks when your body demands rest. Cry when the weight becomes too heavy not to. Sit down, breathe deeply, feel every emotion that this journey is producing inside you. But then, and this is not a suggestion, this is a requirement for the life you say you want, then get back up and move. One step, one breath, one decision, one day, forward. Because the world does not need another person who almost made it. The world does not need another dream buried beneath the ground of someone's unrealized potential. The world needs you, fully expressed, completely committed, relentlessly moving version of you, to show up every single day and prove that persistence is the most powerful force in human existence. Your legacy is not written in your speed. Your legacy is written in your refusal to stop. And that refusal, practiced daily, protected fiercely, and passed on to everyone watching your life, that refusal is your greatest contribution to this world. Everything we have explored together in this speech can be distilled into one single, life-altering truth that you must carry with you from this moment forward. The pace of your progress is completely irrelevant. The only thing that matters, the only measurement that has ever mattered in the history of human achievement, is whether you are still moving. Speed is a luxury. Consistency is a necessity. Talent can take a break. Persistence cannot. Your dream does not need you to be the fastest person in the room. Your dream needs you to be the last person standing in the room. The person who was still moving when everyone else sat down. The person who was still believing when everyone else surrendered. The person who took one more step when the entire world said there was no road left to walk. That person is not a myth. That person is not someone else. That person is who you were always meant to become. So move as slowly as you need to, but never for even a single day stop moving toward everything you were born to build. You were built for more. You were designed for growth. You were created with a specific purpose that cannot be fulfilled from a standing position, that cannot be discovered from a place of comfortable stillness, that cannot be expressed through a life where you traded your greatest potential for the temporary relief of not having to try anymore. Move as slowly as you need to move. Take breaks when your body demands rest. Cry when the weight becomes too heavy not to. Sit down, breathe deeply, feel every emotion that this journey is producing inside you. But then, and this is not a suggestion, this is a requirement for the life you say you want, then get back up and move. One step, one breath, one decision, one day, forward. Everything we have explored together in this speech can be distilled into one single, life-altering truth that you must carry with you from this moment forward. The pace of your progress is completely irrelevant. The only thing that matters, the only measurement that has ever mattered in the history of human achievement, is whether you are still moving. Speed is a luxury. Consistency is a necessity. Talent can take a break. Persistence cannot. Your dream does not need you to be the fastest person in the room. Your dream needs you to be the last person standing in the room, the person who was still moving when everyone else sat down, the person who was still believing when everyone else surrendered, the person who took one more step when the entire world said there was no road left to walk. That person is not a myth. That person is not someone else. That person is who you were always meant to become.